when we decide to take up this argument or looking at our leaders, our past leader, today we are talking of Kwame Nkrumah, but of course we are going to talk of other leaders in Africa. We are trying to make a comparison between them, their ideology, what they represented, and the current crop of leaders we have today. So show me, is there anything that we can compare between the leadership of Kwame Nkrumah as president of Ghana and the current crop of leaders we have today, even looking at maybe the current president of Ghana and also other leaders in Africa? Because it is time for us to learn. Because like we started it, Kwame Nkrumah was just like every other child. He was crying to go to school. He didn't want to go to school, which means he's not an iron man. He's a human being. He's just a human being. So help us on this.
Okay. So, Obehi, thank you very much. Now, to add to that, you see, if we are to juxtapose the style of leadership between the contemporary African leaders we have in the 21st century African leader, and then compare a 20th century, the latter part of the 20th century African leader. So let us look at Kwame Nkrumah, for example, all right? And then compare Nkrumah to our current crop of African leaders. What's the difference? Now, the first difference for me is that there is no precision. And what I mean by precision is that a leader needs to have a direction. A leader needs to be intentional about something. And he needs to be the one to provide the solution or the way, because he must have thought about it, he must have believed in it, and he must have the know-how to make it happen. Now, how did Nkrumah start building these projects in Ghana? Now, let me read one of his letters. This one was written by him when he was in Guinea after the coup. You know, he had to reside or emigrate to Guinea after the coup. Now, listen to what Nkrumah says. I have told you that before we can make real progress and raise our living standards to the highest level that is possible, we must put first things first. If you wish to construct a house, you must first lay the foundations. You cannot start building in the air. It is the same with a nation. If you wish to build an economically independent nation, you must lay the foundations in roads and water supplies and electricity and a modern harbor. You must educate your people and train them for the new skills that are necessary to operate, and an industrial program. This is what we have been doing in Ghana. This has been the work and happiness program of the Convention People's Party. This is how we have been laying the foundations upon which to build a country which can stand up in equality to any country in the world. So the point is that Nkrumah had a direction. He had precision. He was not working on try and error, right? So if we have leaders currently who lack precision, because today they try it, it doesn't work, they move to another thing, it doesn't work, and then they stop, only for the problem to crop up again. If you compare that group of people or that class of people to the Nkrumah class, you realize that the Nkrumah class had precision. They had a certain direction that they wanted to go or to take the nation, as I have read to you here. And he was committed to it. And that is the second point that I'm coming to, the willpower, the willingness to do it, irrespective of the consequence. Obehi, Nkrumah was daring enough to go to a UN General Assembly meeting and tell the West not to bring the Cold War to Africa and not to come and rape Africa of its resources. It tells you that he was a man who was bold and willing to do what he said he wanted to do. And that willingness and boldness, we've lost it. Our current leaders have lost it. They are scared. And I sometimes I understand why they are scared. Because you step on toes, and once you step on those toes, there are going to be consequences. But that is what leadership is. There's a saying, one photography, he was Nkrumah's personal photographer. Having had a discussion with him, he says that, look, Isaac, every great leader is hanged. Every great leader is hanged. Every great leader must die for something. And it's part of the sacrifice of leadership. And that is what the Nkrumahs had. They were willing to die for something. And today, we are benefiting for what they died for. And that is what our current leaders don't have. They don't have the boldness. They don't have the willingness. They don't have the conviction. It is dry leadership all over. And that is why we are seeing what we are seeing. So these are the two things I touch on: precision and confidence and willingness to work out that vision that you have. And this is what Nkrumah really had.